With everything that's going on in the world today, are you channeling how you feeling through your creativity? Because if you an artist, I know it's so much to talk about these days. Like, maybe you paying attention to current events. Maybe you going through relationship problems with family, friends, or probably even just within yourself. I know there's a whole lot to channel, but at the same time, it's easy to feel discouraged too. For real, for real. Because we know that in as much as artists love to create, write, hop in the studio, record, produce, release, at the same time, if you're not eating, right? If you're not able to really take care of yourself and feel comfortable after some time, you start asking yourself, but why am I really even doing this? Have you gotten to that point where your creativity, you probably not really as serious about it like how you used to be serious about it? Like, do you feel like your creativity is being put to the side because life happened? If that's the case, you at the right place, because here I'm gonna get you to tap back into your fire. You got to remember that having a system is important. That way you don't give up on your dream, your passion, your purpose. But today we're going to be talking about how important it is to not just build songs, but to also build the artist. Are you just building songs? Are you just channeling your creativity, recording a lot of songs? Because that's good. Because at the end of the day, it's still a win-win for you as an upcoming artist or even established artist. It's a win-win. The more songs you write, the better you get. The more you hop up in the studio, the better you get. So if you're focusing on the craft, that's good. But at the same time, too, you got to focus on developing the artist. You got to focus on developing the artist because your talent is going to be sharp. And that's powerful because that in itself gets you to beat the competition. But it doesn't stop at you just working on the craft. The craft is going to get you to work. The craft is going to get you the product. And you do need the product to pull in the revenue that you're going for. But at the same time, you got to develop the artist. And that right there requires attention. It requires humility. So I'm curious. Have you gotten to that point where you realize that you probably need personal development? Like, have you realized that your talent is sharp? You could rap, you could sing, and you've seen how good you got over the years of you constantly fine-tuning, you constantly working on yourself. I'm sure you probably gotten to see how good you got, but you also realizing that there are other areas that you could develop as well. There are other areas that you could work on as well. Have you gotten to realize that? If you realize that and you looking for the right sources or resources, that's not going to tap into your pockets too much, because that artist development section is very important. Most record labels don't even focus on artist development these days. Most record labels want the artist to have done a lot of the work before they even bring you on board. They want to make sure that you done did a lot of the work. So, there are still people out here. There's still individuals, there are companies, there are organizations that take it upon themselves to develop artists. But with me, understanding the times that we in, understanding the age that we in, and me being an artist too, I know that it is expensive once you go through some of these established businesses. So it's good to go through individuals that know the route, the independent route, and know exactly what artists really need, and get artists to be in that mindset of doing the work themselves, that inner work. Artist development ties into doing inner work. There's a whole lot of inner work that has to be done. We're talking about discipline. We're talking about establishing clarity. We're talking about establishing consistency, right? We're talking about having a clear understanding of where you're trying to go and where you're at and what you're going to deal with, and really, really being grounded in your niche, your style. A lot of people tell you got to do what sells, but we're living in times where people are actually hungry for authenticity. People are hungry for artists that are really, really expressing the reality of what they're experiencing, of what they're dealing with in real time. People are hungry for real, raw creativity. So now that your craft is super or close to super, it's also time for you to look into the development aspect of the artist, because you know that identity creates coherence. What do I mean by that? That means that once you have your identity solidified, it's much more easier for everything to fall in line. Your songs will fall in line. Your branding will fall in line. Why? Because your purpose is in alignment. Your why factor is in alignment. You're not just doing it because you want to leave your mama house. You're not just doing it because you want to break out of the 9 to 5. It's deeper than that. But you got your identity solidified. Your identity has to be solidified. You can't be all over the place. You get to a certain point, you start realizing that your goal should not be to please everyone. Your goal should not be to sell to just everyone. You got to narrow it down. You got to narrow it down, because development will help you go beyond just fine-tuning those individual releases. Development will get you to really package yourself from within first, right? Because this is not just about doing the external polishing. You realize that there is a certain internal posture, especially for the new age artists that are coming up under this system, this new system of things, where we got AI, we got so much talent. People are quick to judge your material. So that means that you got to have this internal posture that is firmly developed, ready to take whatever that comes, so you don't feel discouraged. Because you know that the internet is always ready to chew you up. They're ready to judge. They don't want to give you a chance. And if you're not really firmly grounded and rooted within yourself, you could easily feel discouraged, and that ties into artist development as well. So with ADR Entertainment Academy, we focus on developing first from the mental state. Having that mental fortification is very, very important. I mean, what you think? What you think, right? If you stepped out into the real world, probably going to open mics, probably try to get people to subscribe to your channels or share your content, and you're seeing that it's not really moving the way you thought, how does that make you feel? When even sometimes your own friends, your own family are not sharing your content, how does that make you feel? Do you feel like maybe you're not as talented as you thought? Do you start feeling like maybe you should just give up and stick to your 9 to 5, or just stay all the way in school and get that degree and go be in an office somewhere? Or does it motivate you some more to look outside of the box, to start questioning yourself, to start looking deeper, to start asking certain questions? Because you got to start asking certain questions, not negative questions, but questions that'll get you to dig deeper into information. Your curiosity should get you to be looking into knowledge that's going to enhance you. And I'm sure you probably already realized that. You realize how important it is to tap into knowledge that's going to boost you mentally first. Then before you start to get to the other layers. Because if you polish your packaging, you spend a lot of money in polishing your branding and all of that, but your identity isn't solidified, you could hit the market and you might get that one hit. But then after that, what comes after that? There are a lot of artists that I've dealt with that got to meet individuals that they collaborated with that were well known, that could have escalated their careers to another level. But guess what? They didn't have a strategy in place. They didn't have a plan in place. So when the opportunity came, they were not ready. They probably even paid for the collaboration. And then when that happens, you put it out there and then it just stays stuck. Maybe the person that you even collaborated with probably just shouts you out one time and then it stays there. But tying it into what we said from the very beginning, there is a whole lot that's happening right now in the world, current events, that you could tie into your craft and package it the right way and hit the right audiences that will pay attention, that will actually fuel what you're doing. But you got to have a strategy in place. You got to have a strategy in place. And that's why we got the Rising Star Volume 1 package. Lock in and level up in 4. That's 4 weeks. If you tired of just trying things out by chance. You go to the studio today, you record, then you release. I want you to sit down and actually write out how much it's cost you over the years to spend on studio time, or to spend on online marketing, spend on promo. I want you to really sit down and do some analysis. You estimate it and see if all that money that you spent up until date, how far has that gotten you? And then you ask yourself, what might be missing? What is it that you're missing? And how could you tighten it up? And my recommendation for upcoming artists is to have a solid foundation. You got to solidify your foundation before the spotlight hits. Before the spotlight hit, you got to make sure that your mind is ready. A lot of people crash out when the spotlight hits. And with the way things are going so fast, it could be your turn tomorrow. It could be your turn next week. Especially if you're staying consistent. It could be your turn next month. Are you going to be ready? Are you going to be ready? So if you feel like you have the discipline, or you feel like you need the discipline, hit us up. ADR Live 365 on the gram. You fill out the artist discovery form so we can get back to you. That way we can know where you at. We can't just be freestyling our careers like how we freestyle raps. That's not how it's going to work, especially if you want your voice to get out there, especially if you want to be impactful, especially if you're saying you're seeing current events and you're trying to get your voice to get out there. You're trying to make change. If you're on that page, because I like working with artists like that. I like working with artists that say, yo, I'm trying to see how I can make change in the world. And it's probably not just going to stop with music, but music could be that stepping stone that'll get you to really be more impactful in your community. Wherever you at, it can get you to be much more impactful. It can get you to be that voice that'll get people to start thinking more wherever you at. If you feel like you're ready, you need the discipline, or you already have the discipline and you're ready to sit down, lock yourself in for 4 weeks and go through that internal boot camp, that internal mental process that is necessary, so you come out after 4 weeks and say, yes, I am ready. I am more confident now. I have a clear sense of direction, clarity, sharp, discipline, sharp. If you know that you're ready for that, you know exactly what to do. This ain't the time to be playing, and I want your voice to get out there. I want you to be impactful as you know you ought to be impactful. So if you know you're ready, stop playing. You know exactly what to do. ADR Live 365. We out here. You stay blessed and stay doing what you're doing and stay focused.